all around the world, and welcome to Donington Park GP. Start of the season, round 2, where we saw actually Flip win his and he's already got himself off to a great start in the championship, maybe looking towards the GTE title, but it's very early days. But hopefully he can just keep it steady and good for the GTEs. But James, how are you doing? James? I believe we lost James for a second there. Having some mic issues. Just to say everyone, it may be pixelated. We've had some difficulties with Google's signings and everything, so unfortunately it'll just be a little bit pixelated today, but hopefully we should be able to see the great racing. And I don't know if we have James back yet. I don't believe
Hello.
Oh yeah, there we go. Hello James. How are you?
Hello. I'm fine, thanks. Just give me a second. I might not be actually able to walk me the stream.
Oh. That's not very good. But heading into this family at Donington.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Another British track as we head into Silverstone next weekend. So in the first part of this season we'll be getting the British GPs out of the way, heading more towards European and then Asia as we go on through the GTE season. So James, Donington Park, I've heard that you've been here a few times before. Is it a spectacular track, or is it just a track that you just like to see cars going around?
Yeah, I went last time I went was the 7th and 8th of September, so just recently. Yeah, it was a very good circuit. It's a really nice circuit to go to. If you wanted to know, head on board with Houston quickly. Just to tell you that from actually where we're head on board with who's heading into the corner. From this is where we are now, on the height from that corner there, you can see all the way down this bit of circuit on a grandstand I sat on, all the way to the corner that we're heading into now, which is the old hairpin. That's why it's called old hairpin. Yeah, it's a really nice circuit. I hope tonight it'll be a different. I don't know if we'll have to do it tonight. Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. Yep, and hopefully he'll be able to extend his championship lead, already leading the championship by, I believe it is, just over 6 points, so not a lot. We obviously had Lonnie and Hijacker in the podium positions last time out at the Brands Hatch GP. There's quite a lot of fast corners which could catch out the drivers, especially in this sector 1 as Flip is going through right now. As James has just said, you can see the whole you could literally see the whole of sector 1, and it must be just quite spectacular in that driver's seat. I was going to check if we have sound, and also any questions you'd like to ask throughout the stream, please feel free to ask me, and James will try to answer them the best possibly can. And the stream may be pixelated tonight. We've had a few problems with Google and YouTube, and it's not going too well, but we should be able to get that sorted by next weekend, or should I say next. Finish 2nd place. It was quite intense. I had I can't remember his name now, but yeah, it was very good. Tricky at the end because I had these wake of the car in front and I just had no grip, so we'll talk a little bit more about that going towards the mid stage, where it kind of dies down some of the racing, but hopefully it won't tonight. We also have Billy O'Connor, a regular for our streams. Hi all, this is the best thing about this track, guys. James, I'll let you answer as you've been here a lot of times. What do you think the best thing about this track is?
Best thing about this track? I think the best thing about this circuit, I think it's the corners and just the overall layout of the circuit.
A bit like the flow of, you know, the first sector where it was this literally just full beans on the throttle and you just chuck into corners, and then some corners a bit like take it steady and you'll get through the corner nice. It's a bit like that.
Yeah, it's just basically from the sweet corner 2, I think it is, to corner. So from Hollywood, which is the corner on it, all the way to Clays, that whole section, that from corner 2 to corner maybe 7, I think.
I can see it.
Very
Yeah.
nice. I'll tell you the corners if you want.
Go ahead.
So, to all of you who are listening, we have number 1 is Red Gate. Number 2, corner 2 is Hollywood. 3 is the curves. 4 is the old hairpin. We have Darky's Bridge, which is the next corner. Then it's towards Dinner's Curve. Then it's McLean. Coppice is the next corner. So where we see a car off the circuit at the moment, he's going through the Creaner curves. By the way.
Yeah, so you just had a little bit of spin there off of the grass there. I'll let you continue.
Yeah. When you head down to the EP section, you then go through Fogarty S's, then you go to Balbourne Hairpin, and then the last one is called Goddard's, and then you go down the Wheat Croft Street, and that is your circuit.
Thank you very much, James. There's 2 layouts for this track. I mean, I think there's quite a lot of layouts, but there's 2 Pacific layouts. There's one which heads from turn 9 all the way straight to the finish line. So from turn 8, when you exit turn 8, you go straight to the finish line in just a straight line battle of speed and slipstream. So that was quite good, but this section is very, very challenging for the player because you got to have a look at these curves and you got to predict what the car will do at that specific time. You know, you got a massive amount of fuel, you've got tyres that may be overheated or worn out. So it really is challenging, this course. And do you think, James, tyre wear will be a big thing around this track due to the fast, sweeping, high downforce areas, or do you think this won't play too much and play more towards the fuel? And headset difficulties are very sorry for that, but we should be able to hear him from a minute. I believe it's K-Morse who has actually got first place in the first practice session, and much needed practice it must be around this track.
Am I here now?
Yes, you are, James. Yes, lovely to have you back.
Am I sound different?
No, you sound still the same. So you're all okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. So basically, I think we've already said it, but if you look at one of the cars where they are now, that little S kind of picture. So instead of going through that and then go the opposite way, so instead of going through the left side, go to the right side. And seeing that here now at the moment.
Yes, he does, and he just gets it. Not qualifying just yet, it's just the practice session. But Andy heading into qualifying will have definitely the advantage emotionally and mentally to go into the qualifying session and hopefully knock out the front grid slots. Yeah, so Andy, as we just said, rounds off first place with K-Morse, followed by Lonnie. As you can see, the rest of the grid of the top 10, unfortunately, no flip-flip in that top 10 unless he wasn't actually going to go for any runs that lap, maybe just go for some race runs, but very strange to see flip-flip. We will never know. We'll have a post-race interview after the race to get his words. what he actually thought of the Donington track. Hopefully we can get a few more drivers in this weekend, and it should be all good. Right, qualifying here now. Kane Wilson second, Andy in the beautiful Corvette there, in a nice silver ready-ish, which is very nice. We also have just a few comments. Callum Smith back again this week. He's also a returner from GTE from last week. We're all doing okay. We're doing okay, Callum. Thank you very much. But yeah, it should be quite interesting seeing the pace from qualifying, not from qualifying, the practice, James. It was a 24.995 that we got from the practice session. That was the overall best time. Do you reckon we can go a little bit more faster, or do you think that's what the real aim is for that time?
What I'm going to say is about a 123.8 would be higher.
Okay.
So yeah, a 123.8 I'm saying what I'm hoping to make. 124.5 we got in the first session, so 123.8 is a respectable time, but if you want to think about it, real life, when I went to Donington Park, or Donington, so I got a bit echoed we went through Roberts, so we did the right-hand turn to the left-hand turn. So there, we did the national circuit around here when I went past it, and we had the fastest championship one, which was Formula 1000.
Oh yeah.
And they did around the national circuit, which is miles long, right?
Oh yeah.
They only managed to do a 1:39.
Really?
Well, that shows you how quick they are. They're doing like 1:30, 1:39, that's slow, right? And then with the GP circuit tonight, the cars I'm talking about do 1:44 and 1:45. So it's not that quick, really.
Yeah, I can see your point. It is a difficult track to master, really, because you've got to take a lot of risks to, you know, gain the rewards. And that was really such as I did the F1 on the Tuesday night. Around Spain, if you took a lot of risks and you actually knew what you were doing that instant, then you would gain a lot of time. And that's where Donington really plays into that. It's really trying to get to know the car and get to know what the car will do in that situation. So it'll really affect the drivers today. Hopefully it shouldn't really hurt them too much. I don't know who is in a provisional pole position for the moment. But we're getting a lot of questions coming in, or queries or anything. But yeah, Flip goes into first already, so it looks like his practice runs were just race runs, or he just didn't want to put a time in of a 1:24.918. That's already faster than the practice time set by Kamos. And thank you very much there. We set the map there so we can see who's heading down into Red Gate Turn 1. Let's have a quick look at the comment section. Callum Smith says, hope commentating is good tonight. Just finished editing the race in the weekend. I commentated on guys at 7 races. Thank you very much, Callum, and hopefully it should be very good tonight. Thomas E.R. Chef is good evening night. Good evening, guys, and good evening to you, Thomas. Already, Flip 6 tenths faster than ESR Andy. Do you reckon, James, is that going to be pole position there for Flip, or do you reckon people will be able to challenge him?
I hope people can challenge him. I'm not convinced he's pole position at the moment. I hope like somebody down the field here, like ESR Andy or like that challenge. Or ESR like that. They are quick. But I think if they can change it, then I'll hopefully they can do well. But at the moment, we've got pole.
We saw Lonnie there just go underneath the 10th fastest, so there is actual challenges there. But for the race, as you said, we've seen Andy, we've seen Sin. They're very good and they're very consistent with getting podiums every single weekend, especially in the GT3 days of last season. We saw them get quite a lot of podiums, and that really did help them in the championship. Just have to wait and see what happens to Flipper. As we saw last time out, and even in Imola in the pre-season, he was just flying away. Nobody could actually stop him. I think he was over 40 seconds. No, it was. I think it was about 25 seconds in front of second place, which is absolutely mind-blowing. And the Porsche isn't the fastest car here. It really isn't the fastest car. So hopefully, for a lap, so heading down to Redgate, turn 1. Don't have to really hit the curb here, but at least you get a decent exit. And I believe he's backed off. He's backed off. Brilliant, ID4 heading down to the sweeping few corners down here. This is absolutely beautiful. You can see every single corner right at the top of that hill. This corner, keep right tight to that corner so you get a best exit, best traction out of that corner. Flat out through the left. Little kink to the left here. Little bit braking and taking your foot off the accelerator for this corner here. Very easy to lock up your rear, as he did there. He locked up his rear brakes and that just allowed the car to step out here. Right here, very hard braking on the brakes, and you've just got this double right-hander that just keeps on flowing and flowing and flowing down this straight here on the Stankley straights, heading down into turn 9, the S's. Braking very heavily and just flip to the left, flip to the right. Get on the power as soon as possible, right on that curve, trying to get as much track as possible. As we see flip, put even a better time in here. The hairpin of turn 11, the Melbourne hairpin, keeping it nice and tight, getting off the power straight away. Heading down into the final corner of 11, Goddard's. Very, very difficult to keep it off camber because you're braking and you're turning and you bit off camber a little bit. And he does go, he didn't actually improve on his time, and that keeps him in 9th. As we run on board with the ESR boys in the Corvette. I do believe they're teammates for this season, so it would be nice to see them. I remember, I don't know if you remember James, ESR Fox and ESR Sin. Great teammates back last season in the Lamborghinis. Obviously the Lamborghinis ruled the first half of the season and then they just dropped off to, I believe, was it the Audis? Yeah, it was the Audis. The Audis of Kiwi Dadlad. And I believe it was K-Moss.
Yes, it was. Do you want me to give you, I know it's only one round, but we do have the team and the championships.
Go ahead for the people who did not watch it for last time out.
So, if you didn't watch last time out, Flip in Flip 1, so he gets 30 points. Lonnie second, 24 points. Hyper, 23 points. Faster, 18. Gavra, 15. I left Gavra here tonight. Shane. Kamo, 12. Sin, ESR Sin, 11. Got 10 points, sorry. ESR Andy, 8 points. IG4, 7. 7 points as well for Lead to Iron. Hooser gets 6 points, and then bottom row, Marky, Aguilera, Alocamp, and From X gets no points, they don't. In the team championships, that is Tune Beetle Racing Team Porsche on top with 30 points. 8 points are the LGR Motorsport Ford, the H B Racing Ford next, which is 24 points, 21 points for the Chevrolet of Gavra. So basically the teams are Alocamp Flip in the Porsche, Ford are Hijacker and LG4, Ford are Lonnie and Marky, the Chevrolet are Gavra and Hooser, another Porsche are Famous and the Iron, another Chevrolet is Andy and Sin. BMW are Bosmo, from Dex and Ferrari are activating faster with racing. Yes, it's activated here. Yes, he is. There he is.
Where is... can we ride on board with Lonnie? If that's possible. And he's in the pits. He's in the pits. I believe that is ESR Sind in 3rd place. If qualifying has ended, and it looks like to be Flip on pole position, but we've still got Sind, who's got one more lap to complete to try and challenge Flip for this pole position here. We'll try and see if he can get any delta. I don't think we get any delta anywhere, so we're just going to have to wait and see the end of this lap. Let's see how well he does here. Not as confident as many drives through the corner, but I reckon he does get a better exit than most. And it's a little bit long, you know, tiny bit strong, especially compared to the other straights on it, and he's parked it. Looks like he was down on his time, and it was the only driver I believe is completing a lap. I believe there's one more, is Andy, who will stay in 5th. Qualifying session over there at the Donington GP. Does it? Oh yes, he does. He goes to 4th. Flip rounds off the grid. He gets the number 1 spot in that Porsche, followed by Lonnie about 3.5 tenths back. ESR Sins is about 6 tenths back. And that's already been a great qualifying session now, a great practice and a great start for Flip. In the Porsche in qualifying, as James said, unfortunately we have not got Gavra this Thursday night. Maybe doing other stuff. Unfortunately we don't have him. He did very well last time out, got 5th place in the Chevrolet. He did very well, and unfortunately we do not have him tonight. But we should be able to have him next week. And should be able to race. We got 1 grid stop penalty for Agulator. I wonder if that's going to be. It must have been for track limits. I do not know. I don't know how the penalty system works in this game. But we're just waiting for the grid. But James, your thoughts, not limited on qualifying.
We've got the grid now. Yeah, I thought it was interesting qualifying. It's gone differently to what I expected. ESR Boy was boxing it today, is what I to say. I know that's too early on the playlist, but they're the best team at the moment. They are the best of the rest at the moment. At the moment, they're in the first season, they both got, Andy got 8 points and Steve 10 points. Doesn't matter, they're both up there in the by the way, well, it's an hour and a half race, so anything can happen. As I say always in an hour and a half race, it doesn't matter until you finish. I didn't think there were Porsches in this game that was GTE. I thought Porsches were just GT3, but apparently they are GTE.
The ball. Let's just have a look.
I'm just looking on the car. Was this anyway GT3 or something? Because I think they're just GT3 Porsches.
I believe they are, but I think they're more. They got a little bit more fuel in them, so you can put a little bit more fuel in them because these are endurance cars.
Yeah, they're 24 hours. That's right.
Yeah. We're just gonna wait a little bit longer for the grid to start the 3 red lights of qualifying.
Yeah, what do you think is going to happen in this then? Wouldn't ask you.
Flip, I think we'll take turn 1. But I think other drivers further back will have a lot of scribble, especially the 2 ESR boys will have a lot, you know, of pressure. They'll put a lot of pressure on Lonnie in the Ford on P2, but I think we're about to start. As we can see a few headlights. Why have they turned them on? I do not know. Lonnie has got an issue and he's gone, and we go racing here at the Donington GP. The Chevrolet gets an absolutely fantastic start. I believe they're side by side with Flip's going to defend his position, and I believe that is Sins who's going to go around the outside and challenge Flip, but unfortunately just can't get it there. But very good start for that Corvette and the Porsche right behind it. Andy getting a dreadful start there. I do not know, he's still in 4th, but he did not get off the line very well, letting let the iron getting through, and the Porsche we just ran well with Chromadex in the BMW, getting a great perspective of the front pack. We can see him just want to try and get on the back of that Porsche. It is most faster, nearly going back into the rear diffuser of the Corvette there. Great start by the Corvette, and it looked like Andy might have a go on the Porsche of K-Morse right there, but fortunately just will not. He just hasn't got enough speed gain on that Porsche. We see the post just going flying off. Someone's hit that. I believe it's one of the Porsches. But great start, James, for the Corvettes, and what a great start for Andy. Not Andy, sorry, Sind. Side by side with Flip Flip. Your thoughts?
Yeah, what a start. A bit of background, just without, but yeah, amazing first lap for everyone. At least everyone did do what they did. Sadly, we do have a car here, so we have what it is here. The ID4, car by car. Back up the car. But no, yeah, very interesting to see what happened.
And K-Moss has gone, he's gone. It looks like he locked up his rear brakes and he's just spun it. He's now all the way down to, I believe it was with 10th and now 11th and now 12th as the Ford just about gets past. And that's how easy it is to make mistakes and lose so many places. You just one little mistake, locking up your rear tyres, and you're completely gone. Thank you very much. Put on the Mirath. Is that a car in the pits or what's going on there? I don't know. Very weird. Oh, is it? That's very strange. Yes, he is trying to breathe down the neck after the Porsche having a little bit of an incident there. Did we see something?
No, I think the ball has a football going on.
Oh, yeah, but I'll sort of stop playing anymore, but
It's so shit.
both watching fast at the moment in 4th.
We're playing the Man United right before playing at down there, starting right. And Newcastle at 38 minutes.
Not surprising there by Man United, but we'll just continue with the GTE racing for now. Keep you updated with the scoreline as we go through the race of the hour and a half. We are here at Donington Park. Lonnie has left session in the bottom left-hand corner. Not a very good start for this Donington GP. Phil Brandt's decided, I don't know if it was an internet connection or he just had to go. But hopefully we can have a talk to him and find you out what the actual problem was riding on board with Interceptor, who's looking not too close to the Porsche just yet, but hopefully he can get past him and keep on heading up the points. Takes the corner very nicely and trying to get the best exit as possibly can. Both the Corvettes of ESRs have got a fantastic start, as we see Interceptor wanted to make a move there, keeping it tight. Porsche in front may just get a better line off of that corner, so watching ID4 right on the back of the BMW, quite a difficult corner there to get correct. And I don't know if you can see it on your screen, Jane, but there is a Ferrari just stood still in the background, which is not too great to see. But we're just on. Oh, and I believe that the BMW's gone off. He's gone off for turn 1, just hasn't got any traction. That's Chromdex. And he's got grass on his tyres, he's got no grip. Trying to join the track in the safest way possible, but I think the Chevrolet might just be able to get the move done. Very tricky because Chromdex will have the inside for the next corner and he gets it done, but he's spun. And he's hit the BMW, and it's just an easy move like that can cost you a lot of time. And instead of getting a position, he's lost a position.
Breaking news, I think we just took the session.
Yes, he has.
disconnection problem just came up on the bottom screen, disconnection calculator. I go well, this is tricky, and no joke black. Joe Black is Gavra replacing tonight. He'll replace Gavra.
Thank you very much. JR, I didn't actually know that as well. Hello chaps, running on board with the Porsche, the Ford of Interceptor trying to close up the gap. It's just around about 6/10 behind. We have to wait and see if this battle will even fizz out even more, but heading down to turn 1. Hopefully he can make a move on him. Interceptor, just a few, maybe a car or 2 lengths back, and just not able to make the move just yet. You can see the rear diffuser of the Ford there. Absolutely beautiful stuff right there. You can see a lot of Porsches on the track right now. You can't even tell whose team's in whose team, but they'll all be trying to fight in for position here at Donington Park. Let's have a look at just some comments. Tobias, he is back. I remember him from GT3. What a move! I believe that was turn 1 from Sind. Jukebox game. It looks like the outside is definitely the fast line in turn 1. I do believe it is. He definitely had a great run, but I think he just got pushed out wide just a little bit than he wanted to. Thomas says bad luck for Joe. It really is bad luck for Joe. He was doing very well and falling behind, and it's not going too well for him. Interceptor trying to keep with Hello Jams. It's not easy to keep up with drivers in the wake of the car in front. It's very difficult. You lose all your front downforce, and it's just not very nice. You can lose your rear downforce, but it's not really too much affected. But we'll just have to wait and see how this battle carries out. He's just trying to get on that rear diffuser of the car, and he's a lot faster than he was before, and he may be able to make a challenge going into Redgate turn 1. Maybe in the slipstream of the car, and just a car or 2 lengths back again this lap. It's just not going a little bit too well. Just right. Oh, and he might be able to go for a move there. Hello Jams only 2/10 back now. Again, a car length back into the next corner. While this battle is fizzing out, Callum Smith has a question for me and James. What are your opinions on the Formula 1 news today? James, I don't know if you know the new F1 news today.
Yes, have you heard it?
Yes, I have. I have definitely heard it.
Yeah, I don't know my opinion first. What are you thinking? What are you thinking? Hats. No, but obviously, I don't know why I'm thinking like that. Side by side, they go to the interceptor now with Pat. Good move.
Looks like Alex James just got a horrible line out there. He might be able to get a better line out the hairpin, but no, and that is Interceptor into 6th place in the Ford.
Yeah, so back to what I was saying, basically what? Mistake.
He's knocked over a lot of cones. He's going to get a bad exit off the corner here, and Alex James is going to have a go probably into Redgate, but I don't think he will. No, he won't have a go into turn 1. But James, back to the question.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is, the quote that I'm going to use is Donington saying, why is he Roadrun and Magnussen have confirmed that they're going to get signed. They were in the start of summer break, they had the game on the same when you read it. They both signed now, and they're going to stay at Haas. Big mistake for Haas, that is. Massive big mistake. Who's really like, don't get me wrong, the 2 guys are super because they aren't great teammates. And Joe back and then Robert Pitcher, I feel a bit sad for him. At the same time, the new guys are coming in who probably need to come in.
Yeah, just going on your point, Haas. Nico Hülkenberg's going to be a free agent next year. Probably Williams might snatch him up because, you know, Kubica's not going to be there anymore at Williams, so maybe Hülkenberg will just go to Williams. But I really thought Hülkenberg was going to go to Haas, and I was actually really looking forward to him being in the Haas, being in a Ferrari engine. Unfortunately, not going to be. Also, what Gavra says is a big shame, but he's been in a huge accident before, and unfortunately he had a fantastic rising career. You know, he was very young and he's done all this. I believe he won in Canada. He did very well, and he did very well to recover. But unfortunately, I think there's just younger drivers who've been in this position for many years and just trained a lot more than Kubica. I reckon if Kubica had 5 years in the car, I think he could be on George Russell's level. I think that's what everyone's been comparing this year, you know, Kubica and George Russell, because obviously the Williams is dog slow, so there's no real point. I mean, in Hungary he was 1.1 seconds behind George Russell. That's just saying something. But yeah, that's my views on it. Haas shouldn't have signed Max and Grosjean.
Did you hear what Hamilton had today? The press conference they had today
No, I did not.
Hamilton started karting in 1997,
Yes.
and in 1998 they were both karting together, so it was him and Kubica karting, right?
Yep.
So Kubica was in his last season of karting, Lewis was in his like second or third season of karting, and in 2000, I think it was, Kubica then moved into Formula, and then 1-2 he moved to Formula, and in 2003 I think it was, moved to Williams
Oh yeah. Or was it BMW Sauber?
Well, yeah, well, BMW Sauber, they were in that car, but just quickly, over to you, because I'm here,
Faster, not too far behind ESR Andy, who's dropped off a little bit by the pace. He's dropped out about 4 seconds behind his teammate, so obviously struggling with something, maybe his setup, maybe the way that the car is feeling right now, do not know, but we can see Faster just trying to game on him. Able to game on him a little bit in the straights, but not in the corners too much. This corner obviously tricky, he needs to keep a tight line around here really, and he can get the best exit possible to use up all the track. But not too far behind, about 4/10 behind. He's gaining, he keeps on gaining on the straights, but he's just a little bit too far behind. But while this fizzles out, oh, and Andy has spun around, and Faster has actually hit him, which means ID4 is looking like he's going to have to go. Andy already dropped down to 7th, so what it looked like to be a fantastic 3rd place already, especially in qualifying, has just turned into a 7th place, and he's going to have to work around to get back to there. The Ferrari has got front damage, and it looks like Interceptor, who we saw, I believe, was in 10th. He's now having a battle with 3rd place for the podium, and is going to be wanting this 3rd place to seal himself in the championship as the highest possible they could possibly go. And he's going to make a move going down into turn 9, but he's just going to back off just a little bit, thinking about hour, minute 5. He's not thinking about hour 1, he's thinking about minute 10. So he's having a look, and there's other Fords, and there's another Porsche trying to join them. I think the Ferrari and Faster has got a bit of damage there on the front, because he's losing a lot of time going to corners, and this should really hurt him going to this corner. But I reckon he will get a good exit off of this corner, but not too bad, not too bad. There's been some good action so far. Let's have a look at just a few comments while we're just here. Agulator says, good evening guys, a competitor in this league, unfortunately he disconnected again, and he hates project cars with a frowny face. Very sorry Agulator, hopefully we can actually see you fighting everything in the next round. You were absolutely fantastic, and hopefully we can see you fighting at Silverstone next weekend. but you can just see the Ferrari trying to take a much defensive line, which is going to compromise his exits after these corners. But I don't know if you would like to run on board with this. And Interceptor's spun. He's spun. And he's all the way down to 6th. And looks like he's going to be drawing on the track a little bit dangerously there. But no, the Corvette managed to get out the way of the spinning Ford. Oh, it was actually ID4, so I thought it was Interceptor there for a second. But Interceptor now to 4th. Okay, I know where I am now. But ID4, unfortunately, just spinning round at a crucial stage, probably lost a lot of downforce from the wake of the car in front and just had nothing, and unfortunately locking up. Jax Williams says, what do you think if we went to Long Beach and Monaco and Willow Springs for GTE? So Willow Springs would be quite a tricky track. It always has been. I'll ask you this question as well in a minute, James. Willow Springs being a very difficult track. Long Beach is more for... It is more for Indy cars because they have very high downforce levels. The cars are very light and they've got insane amounts of power and torque and everything. Really, I think Monaco, that would be quite a fun track. But it's just that it's a very tight street circuit and it's just not great to go racing around there, I don't really think. But if we have a look at this battle between Interceptor and Faster, Interceptor looks to be in front of Faster and he looks to be into 3rd place. But James, just one quick thing, Flip is in 2nd.
Wow, something just happened there with Flip.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that. If anyone in the chat actually saw that, I would love to know, because I don't actually see what happened. But the Interceptor and Faster still having a battle. But Sind is leading the Donington GP. Did he spin? I mean, we've seen quite a lot of spins already in this race. I'm only about 15 minutes in. And it's very strange that. Very strange. I would love to know what happened to Flip right there, because it's not really like him to spin. Especially as we saw him in the first 2 rounds. But James, what do you think if we went to Long Beach and Monaco and Willow Springs? What do you think for the GTE class?
Look I probably don't think you do. Anyway, the American style, the Mon series, the American GT League, they have GT League and the GT series, and the GT series go to every year, out crazy to go live. But it's, I don't think it's different. Same with Monaco. I hope they go there. Get just a comment from Jack Williams again saying, what about Bathurst or the New Zealand circuit? Now, I'm going to say here with the park. No, you can't go for the maximal. There's too many laps on the park.
Cromdix is just disconnected. A lot of drivers disconnecting from this race. We had that in Brands Hatch, remember?
Yeah. Well, why was disconnecting? It's ID. It's in the outside tonight. He's hoping ID is posted tonight. So. Anyway, that's what I'm saying. I don't think they're making. Maybe longer. I was looking at this one. I don't think I'm going to part in the idea. I'll give you a back 4 right, on one car, 5, and I got laps in the today hour over lap 1. So to show you, I got laps 1 in the first half an hour, so we're like lap 4 times. So yeah, if you think about Bathurst,
I don't know what it looks like.
Picture on Discord in a second.
Thank you. I think Bathurst would be. It's always been quite a good track for any really motorsport. I haven't personally driven around the real circuit, but when you experience it in, let's say, Assetto Corsa or R Factor 2 or Gran Turismo or whatever, you always, I think the trickiest part is going downhill, the S section. That's always the hardest, and that'll be quite challenging for the drivers as well, as it's also quite tight in the second sector really, and then the first and third are more of straight line speed, so you want a lot of downforce for the second sector, but for the first and third you want a lot of straight line speed. And that's where setup comes into play, of where you want it and where you want the brake bias and where you want this and where you want that. So I think Bathurst will be a fantastic track for this calendar. But New Zealand, I don't actually know. I've never ever heard of it. I didn't even know there's a track in New Zealand. But as James said, he will send me a picture of it on Discord. If you...
This is the chip right now. And altogether, the big circuit are 2 miles long. I'll find that for you now, and I'll click on it and give out you the... see if you did that. So... The track length, by the way, is 3 kilometers long. Find out what 3 miles is. The whole circuit is 2 miles long, by the way. So this is 6 miles circuit, so it still has back 3 still bottom up. There we go.
Thank you very much.
Just to tell you, that's 2 miles on that whole thing there. That's the whole. That's the GTE.
It looks a bit tight. Looks very tight. I don't think that'd be quite a decent track, but we're gonna go to is it Zandvoort that we're going to next season in Formula 1? So
yeah.
I mean, anything's possible anyway. So. I think Bathurst will be the great. I think out of the selection of Monaco, Willow Springs, and Long Beach, I think Bathurst is the best one so far.
Okay. Right. We'll be back in a minute. I'm going to tell you now. Please do end the stream. We'll be on the black screen and then restream.
Great.
Yeah. So we'll see you in a minute. We're going to be delayed just for 2 minutes. So hopefully it will be not too many of these. Hopefully this will be the last time, but if not, then we'll just record the rest of the race and pop it as a separate stream. I think that's what we're going to do.
Maybe.